In the quiet, sun-drenched village of Mbana, where life moved at the rhythm of rustling leaves and distant bird calls, Florence was a woman who carried the weight of her hardships with quiet dignity. Widowed and childless, she lived alone in a modest hut on the outskirts of the village. Florence earned her living through labor, washing clothes, cleaning yards, and fetching water for her neighbors. But unlike others, her payments were peculiar. She asked not for food or coins but for old, discarded items, clothes, shoes, and, most curiously, undergarments. The villagers, though perplexed by her requests, obliged. Florence has her reasons, they said with shrugs. She is harmless, after all. But Florence's trade wasn't as innocent as it seemed. Each garment she collected held more than just wear and tear, it carried traces of the lives they had touched, sweat, secrets, and essence. Florence's journey into darkness had begun many years earlier. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of blood orange and purple, Florence ventured deep into the forest in search of firewood. It was there, in the sacred grove of Mbana, a place whispered about but seldom visited, that she encountered a being unlike any she had ever imagined. Muthila, the shadow spirit of the grove, emerged from the ancient trees. It was a towering figure, its form shifting and nebulous, with eyes that glowed like burning coals. "You wander into my domain unbidden," it said, its voice a low, resonant hum that seemed to come from everywhere at once. Florence, trembling with fear, fell to her knees. "I meant no harm, Great Spirit. I seek only wood to warm my home." Muthila circled her, its presence cold and suffocating. "You are poor, are you not? Forgotten by your people, alone in your struggle." Tears welled in Florence's eyes as she nodded. "Yes." The spirit leaned closer. "I can offer you a better life. Wealth, health, and power, all can be yours. But you must give me something in return." "What must I give?" she asked, her voice a whisper. Muthila's grin was a jagged shadow. "Bring me garments soaked in the essence of others. They hold the threads of their lives, their joys and sorrows. Through them, I gain strength. Do this, then you shall have everything you desire." Florence hesitated, her heart pounding. But the promise of a better life was too alluring. She agreed, sealing the pact with a drop of her blood on the spirit's altar. At first, Florence's new trade seemed innocent enough. She collected old clothes from the villagers in exchange for her labor. Once home, she would sort through them, carefully selecting the most worn and intimate pieces. This she carried to the grove under the cover of darkness, laying them on Muthila's altar. In return, her life began to transform. A few weeks after her first offering, Florence discovered gold coins buried in her yard. Her small garden, once barren, began yielding an abundance of vegetables. Soon, she no longer needed to perform menial labor. She opened a small stall in the market, selling charms and remedies that seemed to work wonders. People flocked to her, calling her blessed. But with every offering, Muthila's demands grew. "Bring me more," it whispered one night as Florence knelt before the altar. "Essence grows thin. I need garments soaked in fresher emotions, fear, lust, pain." Florence's hands trembled, but she nodded. She had grown too dependent on the spirit's gifts to refuse. The villagers began to notice changes in Florence. Her once warm, jovial demeanor turned cold. She rarely smiled, and her eyes, once bright, seemed shadowed by something unseen. Thanda, a curious and observant young girl, was particularly wary. She had always admired Florence for her resilience, but now, there was something unsettling about her. "She walks like she's carrying a burden too heavy for one woman," Thanda remarked to her grandmother one evening. One night, while returning home from the fields, Thanda saw Florence slipping into the forest with a sack over her shoulder. Curiosity got the better of her, and she decided to follow at a distance. Hiding behind a thick tree, Ntanda watched as Florence entered the sacred grove and knelt before a strange altar. In the moonlight, Ntanda could see Florence pulling garments from her sack and laying them on the altar. A shadowy figure emerged, towering over Florence, its voice a chilling whisper. Ntanda's breath caught in her throat as the garments began to dissolve, consumed by an eerie, glowing light. She took a step back, accidentally snapping a twig underfoot. Florence froze. "Who's there?" she hissed, her voice sharp with panic. Ntanda ran, her heart pounding as Florence's cries followed her through the trees. The next morning, Ntanda confided in her grandmother, who listened intently, her face grave. "This is no ordinary matter," the old woman said. She summoned the village elders, and together, they devised a plan to confront Florence. By midday, the entire village gathered outside Florence's house. The elders called her out, their voices stern and unyielding. "Florence, we know of your dealings in the forest. You have brought a darkness upon this village. Explain yourself." Caught off guard, Florence tried to deny the accusations, but Ntanda stepped forward and recounted what she had seen. The villagers, armed with courage and torches, stormed Florence's house, uncovering the hidden chamber beneath her floorboards. There, they found the strange relics of her trade, bones, symbols, and the remnants of offerings. The elders decided to destroy the sacred grove to break Muthila's hold on their village. As they marched into the forest, Florence fell to her knees, begging for mercy. "You don't understand," she cried. "If you destroy the altar, Muthila will take me. Please, don't do this." But the villagers were resolute. As the villagers set fire to the grove, a storm brewed. The sky darkened, and the wind howled like a wounded beast. Muthila's shadow emerged from the flames, towering and furious. "You dare defy me," it roared, its voice shaking the earth. "Florence is mine. She cannot escape her death." Terrified, Florence tried to flee, but the shadow engulfed her. Her screams echoed through the forest as the flames consumed the altar, and Muthila's form dissolved into smoke. When the storm cleared, Florence was gone. All that remained was the charred earth where the altar had stood. In the days that followed, the village seemed brighter, as though a dark cloud had lifted. The crops grew strong, and the air felt lighter. But the elders warned the villagers never to stray into the forest again. "Muthila may be gone, but the scars of its presence remain," they said. As for Florence's grand home, it crumbled over time, abandoned and overgrown with vines. The villagers avoided it, saying it was cursed, a reminder of the dangers of greed and the peril of making bargains with the dark. And so, the story of Florence and the dark trade became a cautionary tale, passed down through generations to remind the people of Mbana that no wealth is worth the cost of one's soul. Do not forget to press that like and subscribe button, as it helps with our channel to grow and be able to reach more viewers with more entertaining and informative stories. Like and share this video. Comment below on your thoughts about the use of dark crafts for wealth. Thank you for your support. Until next time.